Marvel and Skydance Media just released the first trailer for Marvel 1943, The Rise of Hydra, and it looks incredible. But what if I told you this is one of many video games in development, and one of them is a Black Panther game? In this video, I'll tell you every game that Marvel is currently working on, all the known details, and when we can expect it to be released. Let's get right into it. We'll start off with the obvious one, but won't spend too much time since we just got the trailer. 1943, The Rise of Hydra is set to release in 2025 as a narrative action adventure style game. From the trailer, we can tell that this is set during the time of World War II in Europe. It seems that the playable characters will be both Captain America and Black Panther. The Black Panther in this game is T'Challa's grandfather, given this game is about 70 years before he becomes the King of Wakanda. I'll also add that this game is said to be an original story, so this won't be anything us as fans have seen before in either the comics, cartoons, TV series, or movies. Last thing I'll say is, as a software engineer, I got even more excited when I heard this game was using Unreal Engine 5.4, which, to simplify it, allows for super realistic characters and graphics when we play the game. Moving on to the next game is made by Motive Studios and will be focused around the one and only Tony Stark. This game entered into development back in 2023 with the promise that it will be another original story that taps into all the different parts of Iron Man's character. My expectations for this game are to give us all a modern experience of what it feels to be the genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist that Tony Stark is. I would love to see some mechanics of players being able to craft, modify, and upgrade the different Iron Man armors that we've seen in the movies and the comics. This is a bit of a stretch, but with the rise in artificial intelligence, I wonder if we could get an interactive Jarvis that can respond to certain player inputs. Say that we get stuck on a certain level, what if Jarvis in the game will actually give us advice based on how we are failing to pass a certain level? Now thinking about this, it might not be realistic, but it would be pretty cool to have. There is no release date set for this game, but be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any updates when any of the games that I discuss in this video. This next game was revealed at the recent Game Awards, and that is Blade. Being developed by Arcane Studios, this game is almost confirmed to be a mature rated game, which I think makes sense given that Blade is a vampire, implying that there will likely be a lot of blood when we get to play this game. Based on the reveal trailer, it looks like this game will take place in France, but the time period isn't too obvious from the trailer. Nonetheless, we haven't seen Blade in any Marvel related games or projects in some time, so this has some great potential to showcase some of Blade's powers and abilities to get everyone ready for his MCU debut. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the release date for this game lines up with his MCU debut, so it can be more of a moneymaker, and that way it lines up with marketing as well. Remember how I mentioned that Black Panther is now going to be in 2 Marvel games? Well, it was confirmed about half a year ago that Cliffhanger Games will be creating an original game for the Black Panther. This will be a third-person single-player game based around the King of Wakanda. Something worth noting is that Cliffhanger Games is owned by EA, or Electronic Arts, and EA also has involvement with Motive Studios, so that means EA is working on 2 Marvel-related video games. We've seen their work with Respawn on the Star Wars Jedi series that I am personally a big fan of, so I'm definitely curious to see how the Iron Man and Black Panther games turn out. The first Black Panther movie in the MCU is one of my favorite movies, so I can't wait for the first trailer to be released for the Black Panther game. Now, I'm sure by now you are all yelling at me saying that I'm missing the biggest ones. Well, I saved the best for last. The extraordinary team at Insomniac Games Studios has a lot in the pipeline. Starting with Marvel's Wolverine, this will continue to be a single-player game in a similar style to the Marvel Spider-Man games that have already been released. Other than the reveal trailer back in 2021, we've heard nothing about this game. Well, nothing from Insomniac Games. If you haven't heard, Insomniac was subject to a cyber attack where a lot of information was leaked, including a playable build of Marvel's Wolverine, giving players a few hints at the plot of the story for the game. Insomniac has acknowledged this, but I won't base what I think this game will be about based on the very early build of the game, and things could have easily changed from now until then. I'm guessing we will get a new trailer sometime this year or early 2025, as it's been a while since we've gotten an official update from the developers at Insomniac Games. Now, with the hack, the supposed release date for Wolverine is 2026, but that is to be officially confirmed by Insomniac Games. From here on out, these games are entirely based off of information from the Insomniac Games leak, so let's take these with a grain of salt. In 2025, it's speculated that Insomniac Games could release a standalone Venom game. Given the large success of Marvel Spider-Man 2 with Venom being one of the main villains, I would love for this game to be a reality. Venom is my favorite Spider-Man villain, and getting to play him for a mission in Spider-Man 2 was awesome. This clearly already shows that Insomniac Games has the playable version of Venom, meaning they would just need to build a story around him for the game to be a reality. Given that this is supposed to be a 2025 release and nothing has been announced, I'm not expecting this to be true, as I think we as fans would have heard something by now. Don't get me wrong, as I would love for Insomniac to immediately say, hey, here's the trailer, but I'm not expecting that to be the case. Up next is something that is definitely coming out eventually because of the ending we got for Spider-Man 2, and that is Spider-Man 3. From what it sounds like, this will be the final game of the Spider-Man trilogy for Insomniac Games. We can expect to see Silk, Carnage, Doc Ock, and the Green Goblin in this game based off of hints from Spider-Man 2. Unfortunately, this is reported to not be coming out for the next few years until 2028, which does make sense given that it took Insomniac Games about 4 years to release Spider-Man 2 after Spider-Man 1, even though that was over the pandemic. Do remember though that we did get Spider-Man Miles Morales during that time, so we could very well get another Marvel game from them before the final chapter. Now that's everything from Insomniac Games, but those of you that read the leaks, you know about a Spider-Man multiplayer game that was also in development. Regardless of if you heard of it or not, check out this video here to see why I think something like a Marvel multiplayer game is something we should be looking forward to.